This this isn't a video to watch. This is a video to listen to. And that's why the video looks like it does. Uh, you know, I've always done things different in my life than the average person. Dropping out of school at 14, going to college at 20, and graduating from Hofstra University at, I guess I was 24, 25. Uh, you know, And then I went on to work in the city for a few years as a temp, mainly as a temp. I had full time regular jobs, but I started out as a temp, like most people do in the accounting world. Um, you know, uh, and I guess I just got a bad taste in my mouth being a temp. I saw another side of companies because, you know, as a temp, they don't care about you. They don't, other than what you do for them during the time you're there, and uh, there's no future, there's no investment, and uh, but I mean, you would, as a temp, you go there with the hopes of being made permanent, and some temp jobs you have that hope, uh, and then some temp jobs you're leaving within a certain amount of time, and there really is no hope of staying permanent. Um, and I experienced both situations, and I was made permanent by EMI Records. I was uh, Capital Records. I worked for as a permanent, not as a temp, and you know, uh, but I got a taste of the Matrix. I got a taste of the life, and I saw what my future was gonna hold. Sure, I could have made good money. Money wouldn't have been. Uh, well, it's always an issue, no matter how much you have. I don't, even Elon Musk with his $1 trillion, money's an issue for him, of course. So you can never say money's not an issue, especially in the Matrix world where money is the issue. And so, I mean, the majority of people that are in college today are there because they want a promising career. They want to make money. They don't want to work at the Stop and Shop or 7-Eleven and just collect a regular weekly paycheck at an hourly rate, and have no real chance for advancement. So they go to college and try to educate themselves, give themselves a skill, a career, and I did all that. And you know, but when I was 29, which was about 1999, uh, I I realized I couldn't work your regular 9 to 5 jobs. I couldn't work a 9 to 5 job, and the 9 to 5 job is the matrix, total matrix, and I couldn't work in the matrix, and I didn't have the personality for it. I didn't have the care, the heart for it. I didn't care. I hadn't gone to school because I dropped out at such a young age. So I wasn't brainwashed or indoctrinated into a system of uh, constant achieving to please the teacher, and then you go on and please the boss. And that's what the whole idea of the school is, to set you up to work as a worker, and that's what their goal is, to create workers. And I was never created a worker, and I've never been a worker. poor company of any real kind. Um, I work for myself. Like I'm working right now. It's 1:42 in the morning on a Tuesday night. Well, it's Monday night, but now it's Tuesday, and it's just I don't I don't work on your 9 to 5 schedule. I do things when I want to do them. And tomorrow, if I wanted to, I could sleep all day tomorrow. I can get up at any time in the day I want. And most likely I'll get up and I'll get out of my room and go watch TV in the living room uh, around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I stay in the living room pretty much all day. And I use my iPads. I have two iPads, and I use them. And I play music on one, and I watch videos on the other, and I have the TV going at the same time. I mean, I got this whole big system going on. But anyway, when you're free like I am, and you know, I don't just think outside the box. I live outside the box, and I think that's that's the problem with a lot of people that are in the box because they can't think outside the box because they don't live outside the box. I use the metaphor of if you if you were born in prison, you wouldn't know what the outside world is like. You wouldn't have a valid opinion of the outside world, and you would always see the world with bars in the way, and you would think that's how the world is and how everybody sees the world, and obviously it's not. And for me, it's not. I don't see the world with bars on it. I see a free flowing world with all types of possibilities, and I can do basically anything I want. There's nothing, there's nobody to tell me to do anything. And when I was 29, I figured that that wasn't the life for me because I didn't want a boss. I really never considered myself to have a boss because even if I technically had a boss, I didn't listen to him, and I did what I wanted. And, you know, uh, I escaped the Matrix at 29, but I was in the process of escaping the Matrix. You don't just wake up one morning and say, well, I'm not in the Matrix anymore. And that's how life goes on, No, that's not how it happens, Uh, you have to fight because the Matrix is fighting to keep you in the Matrix. The Matrix doesn't want to give you up. The Matrix spends a lot of time and effort to keep you get you in the Matrix and keep you in the Matrix. And to open that door and let you out is not an easy process. I went through years and years of hell, years and years of torture and abuse and financial problems, drug problems, psych ward problems, uh, societal problems. Society treats you differently when they know you're mentally ill. They aren't very kind to you. Uh, Other people treat you different when they have to go to work and you don't. Uh, Girls, it's hard to meet girls when you live on Social Security because they're all looking for money to pay for the baby, to pay for the house, to pay for the car. And if you live on Social Security, you're not paying for any of those things. And so women are hard to come by. And the medication you're on when you're mentally ill kind of makes you impotent, and it's hard to get it up. And it's hard, not so much that it's hard to get it up, but you can't you can't orgasm. And it's like they keep moving the goalposts, when you have sex. they keep moving the goalposts. It's like as soon as you get there, it's like, not now. Keep going. And for that reason, you do last a long time when you're in the mood, at least. And it's hard to get into the mood. So it just, I mean, psych meds have been classically plagued with sexual problems for the ones that take it, and it's a big reason people stop taking their meds because they want to have sex, and you know, that's what I'm saying. You don't just wake up in the morning and say, "I'm not going to be in the matrix anymore. I'm going to do something different," you know. And in a way, I did do that, but because one day I went to work and the next day I didn't, and I never went back. And I still, to this day, since '99, have never gone back, and never will go back. And it's just it's tough because yeah, you still have to support yourself. You still have to uh, live a life. You know, I smoke cigarettes, and cigarettes are very hard to come by, and they were expensive, and I didn't work, so that was made things difficult. I did crack, it didn't work, that made things difficult, you know. And I had my mother. My mother helped me a lot. Unwillingly, she didn't want to, but she did, and gave me a roof, a place to stay. Uh, Took me a while to get on Social Security. They fought me on it. They denied me. They deny everybody, but they denied me, and they finally accepted me. And I had to spend some time in psych woods and stuff, and the drugs made things more difficult because a lot of what I experienced was from the drugs, and so I'm not giving you a roadmap on how to escape the matrix because everybody's different. Um, I don't know your life situation. I don't know what you have or what you don't have or uh, anything like that. So I can't counsel you on how to escape the matrix. I can only tell you how I did it, and it wasn't easy, and I went through a lot of hell. And the hell's kind of over. I'm free now. I'm on the other side. I'm not going back. Um, the Matrix would love to take me back in at any moment in time. It would take me back, but going. I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. And freedom is not free, and the things I have to do to stay free of the Matrix is the cost of freedom, and it's worth it. You know, I gave up having children. I gave up getting married. I gave up a career. I gave up having a car. Uh, I gave up um, the usual things that the Matrix uses to keep you in the Matrix. You know, it's very hard if you have kids to not be part of the Matrix because nowadays with child support, if you don't pay child support, they arrest you. They take your license, your driver's license away. They make your life very difficult, and they'll garnish your wages and stuff like that. So it's very hard to say, well, I'm just gonna go live in the woods like the Robinson family, and it may seem simple, but it's not. But I never had kids, and I just, on purpose, and I never got tied down. I never bought a house. I never bought a car. I never um, got locked into the matrix in the way a lot of you are. And and all these things are designed to keep you in the matrix, and uh, they keep you sick. You know, if you're overweight, it's because of the matrix. The food that the matrix supplies is unhealthy and makes you heavy. Uh, I always use the example of like a picture of the 1970s of people on the beach, and nobody's fat, nobody's got tattoos, nobody's got a cell phone, and everybody's playing beach ball and volleyball, and they're all happy, they're all talking to one another, and it's a very different society than what we have today. And today's society is a product of the matrix. Uh, I don't know that the matrix existed back then, or if it did, it wasn't as powerful. It wasn't the same as it is today, and that's a glaring difference in the picture that you can see right away. The differences, and you know, we all are like hypnotized by our video screens, and that's a big reason why I don't have a picture on this video. I don't want you to watch the video. I want you to listen to me. And I guess maybe I should do a podcast instead. I guess I haven't gone down that road yet. Maybe I will someday. Uh, but just because I can't tell you how to escape the matrix, I can tell you that you can escape the matrix. I just don't think you'll be willing to do some of the things that you have to do. You have to free yourself of the things that keep you in the matrix. Uh, you have to free yourself of all the ties, all the chains around your ankles, and and the blinders on your face that keep you from seeing the real world and experiencing the real world. And your perspective on the real world has been skewed. It's been indoctrinated. It's been given to you. This is what it is, and this is how you see it, and this is the way things are. And don't deviate from that, and I think you see the results of that with our president, our government, the wars we're involved in. You know, this is the enemy, and there is no other explanation. There is no other way of looking at it. This is the enemy, and this is it. We hate them, uh, and we have major problems with them. Yeah, we have to bomb them, and we have to do all these crazy things to get them to submit to our will. And it's all a bunch of crap. It's all the matrix keeping you in the matrix, and that's the main goal. Because the matrix seems like it's very powerful, but it's not. And it's like one man um, being in a war torn area like Iran or Israel and trying to stop the war on his own. It's really um, basically impossible. So, and that's like me. I'm that one man trying to stop the war, and I can't stop the war myself, but I need recruits. I need people to stop the war with me. And this is my recruiting video on how to get people to leave the matrix. And you have to be willing to give up your house, your family, your car, your job, uh, and part of why medical benefits and food stamp benefits are being taken away is to keep you in the matrix, is to make it harder for you to walk away from the matrix, because now you can't get food stamps, and your answer to me is, Well, if I don't work, I starve, or I go to jail for stealing food. And all that's true. But if you go to jail, they feed you. They feed you in jail. And jail's not that bad. I've been to jail. And that's another part of what the Matrix did to me, trying to keep me from breaking free. They wanted to scare me. It wanted to show its power on me, and none of it worked. None of it worked. And I'm unique in a lot of ways, and I think that's why I'm free and you're not. But I just don't want to kill any hope that you might have of breaking free from the matrix. Um, I'm just not sugarcoating it. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be difficult. But I'm also telling you it's going to be worth it. Whatever you have to go through, it's going to be worth it. Um, the biggest control the matrix has over you is fear. Fear of other countries, fear of your government, fear of police, fear of your boss, fear of your wife, fear, 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 fear. There's so much fear in your life. You know, now we have fear of losing your phone because you can't even pay for parking, or you can't pay for anything without your phone. So you have fear of your phone losing things. Um, so so everything is so fear. And the way I live, I'm not afraid of anything, and I have no fear. And I don't. All these things that I'm telling you that the Matrix uses against you. They tried it on me. I'm not saying they didn't try it on me, but it didn't work. It didn't take. So, and for you, it did take because you're going to work tomorrow, or you're at work now. Uh, and I'm not saying, look, society has to function, but it doesn't need to be a slave society. It doesn't need to be so evil where you have one trillionaire and you have a billion poor people. It doesn't need to be that way. And again, that's the matrix. They want all of you non-trillionaires to want to work your butt off so one day you'll be a trillionaire. And and unless you were born with an emerald mind, I don't think you have much chance of becoming a trillionaire anytime soon, at least. And and if one of you did it, it doesn't make the system right. It doesn't make it the way the system should be because one person made it. Or even two or three or 10 or 100 made it to trillionaire status. You know, and it still doesn't make it right that everybody else is poor. And that's another reason why I make the video, because I want to level the playing field. I don't want to attack billionaires. I don't want to take their money away from them, but I do want them to pay taxes. I do want them to pay their fair share. It's funny that we have this pied-à-terre tax that they're applying in Manhattan, or I don't know if it's all the five boroughs, but I believe it's Manhattan. Um, where if you have a second residence and your residence in Manhattan is not your primary residence, they want to charge you a tax on that residence. And you know, when the billionaires fight paying taxes, they bring about the communists. They bring about the government that wants to take away their money and get rid of billionaires. If the billionaires would just pay their share and pay a nice amount of tax out of all the money that they make, and I'm not telling you to pay all the money or tax them on everything they make, but a reasonable share considering relative to how much they have. Um, you know, uh, the communist government kind of thing wouldn't get much air. It wouldn't get much flight. But when the billionaires fight it and they start campaigns and they threaten If you tax me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Um, and that just gives fuel and air to the communists and the socialists that want to get rid of billionaires. They want to make being a billionaire a legal thing, and they want to get rid of private property and stuff like that. And you just make it worse for yourself. So, and again, that's all the matrix. Making the poor fight the rich and the rich fight the poor is all matrix stuff. It's all keeping the poor man down. The cops are there to keep the poor man in line. Go to court and just look who's being brought before the judge. Very few rich people are on that line, and you know, and when they are, they have 3 or 4 lawyers. They don't have one lawyer; they have 3 or 4. And they don't stay there very long. So, and when they do get arrested, they become like a P Diddy or an R Kelly, and they become world famous for their crimes. But um, the list of poor people is endless, and they don't have 2 or 3 lawyers. They're lucky they have a lawyer at all, and the lawyer that they do get doesn't want to fight for their case. Doesn't They want to plea it out? They want to send you to jail for the least amount of time they can get you, even though you didn't really break the law. They don't care if you broke the law or not. It's about money at that point. They don't want to go to trial because um, they don't want to spend the time. They don't want to spend the money when they can make more money dealing with and pleading out a dozen cases instead of doing your one case. So it's all a bunch of BS, and it's all matrix. It's all matrix. It's a way the matrix keeps you in line, keeps you following the rules, following the law. And you know, I escaped the matrix when I was 29, and it's been a hard road, but it's been a worthwhile road, and I have a long road ahead of me, and I hope you do too. But I'm gonna end this video with look for ways that you are controlled right now in your life by the matrix, and then look for ways to get rid of that control. Um, like I wouldn't start a business for myself. I don't consider what I'm doing right now a business, and I don't. This is not monetized. I'm not looking to make money. Um, so I'm not telling you like if you have a job to go start a business because that's you're still in the matrix when you start a business. So you don't want to do that. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to be creative. It's hard for you to think outside the box because you're standing in the middle of the box, and it's very hard. And it's hard for me to tell you what to do because I'm outside the box. It's like if you're in prison and I'm outside prison, I can't tell you how to get along in prison or how to get out of prison, being that I'm outside prison. You have to do the things. Your life in prison is much different than mine, and it's very hard for me to advise you. So, whatever. Um, Freedom is not free.